Hey, Creations by Courtney here, back with another crochet tutorial. Today we're going to be working on the Channy Tunisian Sash. This is a fun project that's great for stash busting because I'm sure you have lots of scraps of yarn or just maybe one ball or the remnants of some yarn. And so this works really well with a worsted weight. It could be acrylic or it could be cotton. I've made it with both, and I'm totally leaning towards the cotton. It just works up better and it curls less. I mean, blocking is important, but who wants to block it when you finish a project because you're ready to use it, right? So this fun project is going to require worsted weight yarn and a size 7mm hook. I chose a 7 so that the stitches weren't too tight and then that it wouldn't curl a whole lot, because unfortunately a lot of Tunisian stitches do curl. But get your yarn, get your hook, and we'll get started. We're only going to use 4 stitches for this entire project, but it's going to be so much fun. So we have our hook, we have our yarn. Today I'm using Lion Brand Jeans Color in Capri. This is the same yarn featured in the pattern, and I'm using my Radiant Wood size 7mm from We Crochet. I just used the end stop that I had in my stash to kind of keep the loops on the hook. So let's get started by making a slip knot. Oh, let me turn that this way. There we go. You make your slip knot in your preferred method. All right, so we're going to tighten this. And what's so interesting about this is not a lot of stitches. So the first little rows kind of set up the width. And we're going to chain 2. And if you're new to increases and decreases, we'll actually slip stitch. This is going to be a lot of fun. So we have 2 chains, one on the loop, on the hook, excuse me. We're going to skip the first chain. We're going to yarn over, and this will count as an increase. And then we're going to go into the second chain, yarn over, pull up a loop. Now we have 3. Yarn over, pull through 1 or chain 1, and then yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, so now we have 3, right? Technically, we can almost view this first chain as the first Tunisian simple stitch. So one way to increase is to do a yarn over, then do the stitch. But for this, we're actually going to use the Tunisian full stitch as the increase. So when you pull this apart, this is the front part, and this itty bitty bit right here is the back leg of the second vertical bar. So for a Tunisian full stitch, we actually want to work in this space here in between the vertical bars. So we're going to insert our hook from front to back, yarn over, pull up a loop. Okay, now we're going to insert our hook under the next bar, yarn over, pull up a loop. And then at the end, we're always going to work under both parts, both loops of that last stitch. Now we have 4 loops on our hook. We're going to chain 1 and then yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. You see the shape starting? So exciting. So we're just going to repeat that. And again, each row is going to get a little bit longer. So we're going to Tunisian full stitch and then Tunisian simple stitch in the next 2 bars, and then Tunisian simple stitch always in that last one by going under both loops. Yarn over, pull up a loop, chain 1, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And so one trick to kind of keep up with how many stitches you have is by counting the vertical bars. So now we're at 5, or you can also count your yarn over, pull through 2. So Tunisian full stitch, remember, go in that space right here in between this vertical bar and this one. And this one's gonna look like it's turning a little bit, and that's okay, because it adds to the overall look of the finished sash. And so that's 1, 2, and then 3 Tunisian simple stitch, and then Tunisian simple stitch in the last one. So chain 1, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. That's one way to count your stitches in Tunisian. So we're going to keep increasing on the right side if you're right-handed. If you're left-handed, you'll do your increase on this end. And so your triangle will go in the opposite direction. Or if you just want to wear your sash where it sits on your right hip, you'll do the increases the opposite way. And you only increase on one side. So Tunisian simple stitch in the next 1, 2, 3, 4, and then Tunisian simple stitch in the last stitch. All right, so now we have 7 loops on our hook. And then just do the return pass in the same way. So we're going to continue to increase in this manner until we have 16 stitches. And then that's where the fun starts. So as you see, we have this really cute triangle shape going, where this edge is straight and this one is angled from that increase. So I'll see you back in a little bit when we have 16 loops on our hook, okay? All right, so if you're keeping up, we do the Tunisian full stitch, and now we're going to Tunisian simple stitch in each stitch across in order to have 16 loops. So again, you're just sticking your hook under the next vertical bar, yarning over, and then pulling up a loop. And let's do a count when we get to the end. And don't forget, with the last one, we always work under both loops. See that? Both loops. All right. So let's do a count check. And this is why I was saying, if you don't change the width, you don't have to have a full length Tunisian hook. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. All right, and let's just do the return pass. So chain 1 and then yarn over, pull through 2 all the way across. So for the next rows, we're going to be doing the same thing until it is the desired length. And this is where the fun starts, or at least I think it's fun. All right, so we have our 16 stitches and we have this lovely triangular shape, right? And this is the bottom part of the sash. So now we're going to continue to increase on one side by making a Tunisian full stitch between the first vertical bar and the second vertical bar. And then just Tunisian simple stitch until you get to the last 2, okay? And so when we get to the end is where we're going to do a Tunisian simple stitch 2 together. Okay, so because we increase on one side, we want to maintain 16 stitches. So this should be 15. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So if we picked up a loop here and a loop here, we would have 17, but we want to maintain 16. So the TSS2 together is handy right here. So we're going to insert our hook under the next vertical bar like so. And we're going to go through the last one. See that? So we're going to yarn over and pull a loop under all of those bars. And that's TSS2 together. So you see, it's like making a decrease. Now we're just going to do a standard return pass. So chain 1, and then yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2 until we get to the end. Oh, I forgot to count the loops for y'all. So that's okay, because we're going to do this again together to make sure that you get the hang of it. Because it's going to be a lot of this row until it's your desired length. Okay, so Tunisian full stitch, right? And again, if you need to, adjust that first loop so it's not too loose. And then Tunisian simple stitch in the next vertical bar. And then Tunisian simple stitch all the way across until you get to the last 2. All right, so when we get down here, okay, this is the second to last one, and this is the last one. This is from the previous TSS2 together. So when looking at this, it's a slight decrease in the edge as this side continues to increase. So let's do this again to make sure you get the hang of it, because that first one is really easy to make the Tunisian simple stitch 2 together. And then on the following rows, it may be tempting to work in that chain space, but you want to make sure you put your hook under the bars, both legs of that last vertical bar. All right, so when we get to the end, the second to last one may kind of squish down a bit, so it helps to pull the fabric. That way you can clearly see the vertical bar and that last one. And it helps when you kind of flip it to the side. Now it's like an upside down V. So Tunisian simple stitch. Go under both vertical bars like so. Yarn over and then pull up a loop. And then just return pass. So we're going to repeat this row until it is the desired length. So for someone of my height, and I'm only 5'3", I know, so tall, 60 inches or close to 60, I would say between 57 and 60, makes it fall around the hip. And if you're a little bit taller and you want it to be closer to the waist, then you can stick with that 58, 57 to 60 inches. Now, if you want it longer, then just keep repeating this row until that desired length. So taking a look at it, you're going to have this straight edge. And this edge is straight, well, not straight, it's angled. And this straight edge is now going to start leaning in. So just keep repeating with one increase when you start the forward pass, and then TSS2 together at the end of the row of the forward pass for the decrease. I'll see you back when we're at 59 to 60 inches, or however long you need to make it for that perfect fit. All right, so we've done the beginning, right, where we, through the first few rows, we increase on one side, and then we started decreasing on one end, increasing on the same end. And this is what creates this really cool leaning effect. I mean, look at that. Okay, so once you've made yours to the desired length, again, I'm doing a short version here for demonstration purposes. So when we get to the last row, after it's to the length that you like for you or for the person that you're gifting it to, rather than increasing with the Tunisian full stitch, we're just going to Tunisian simple stitch all the way across until we get to the end. So we're doing this to remove one stitch. Until you get to the last 2 bars. So this should give us 14 loops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. And now we're going to Tunisian simple stitch 2 together, just like so, for 15 loops. And then we're just going to do our return pass. So chain 1 and then yarn over, pull through 2 all the way across. See? And now we're going to bind off. And so for this, you can pick your favorite method, but I chose to do a slip stitch. So we will slip stitch under each vertical bar all the way across. And when you get to the end, don't forget to work in the last stitch. So this makes 14 slip stitches. All right, if you need to, count your work to check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So this is where we move on to finishing. So it doesn't seem like it will work out when you first start, but it actually lines up really, really well. So we're going to fold it in half with the wrong size on the inside. Flip your work over so that you can pull the loop through. So remove your hook from the loop like so, and then find that first stitch, which is right here from row 1, well, the foundation row. Insert your hook through, and then put the loop back on the hook and pull through. And if you need to, definitely use stitch markers to hold this in place. Oh, I split the yarn. Hopefully you don't go through that, but there we go. All right, so we're going to chain 1. We're going to work back through this first stitch and the slip stitch. So for this first one, it helps to turn your work so you can see where to put your hook. And then just make a single crochet, just like so. And so just continue across. It could be a little fiddly, especially with slip stitches, because they tend to be tight. So again, turn your work if you have to, so you can see where to insert your hook, and just continue across. When you get down to the end, make sure you catch all of the stitches. So this first space here is really large, but that's okay, because we're going to work through here and insert our hook under this last, which was actually the first loop from the first slip stitch. And there you have it. It's all seamed. And now you'll cut and then weave in your ends. Look at that. And there you have it. Channy's Tunisian Sash. Hope you enjoyed. Keep stitching. I'll see y'all soon.